Two Humerus nurses would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we record the podcast, the Eora Nation. We pay our respects to the elders past and present and extend that respect to other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who are listening today. Always was, always will be.
Two Humorous Nurses with Callie and Alisha.
The podcast that loves a good selfie.
Welcome to Two Humorous Nurses, where we plan to bring you funny, informal, conversational chat about all things nursing.
Today we have Tori and Sam, who are basically the US version of us. They're a couple of nurses with sassy banter who have unfiltered chats about the salty and sweet side of the healthcare world. Sound familiar?
Tori and Sam have a very popular podcast called The Cellfie Show, and there was no holds barred, so we hope you enjoy this chat as much as we did.
Do you want to tell us where you grew up, where you currently are in America? Because we all just think America is like one big...
I know the pop culture, right? Like,
And I realise I have no fucking idea where anything is in the US.
I just know that California's on this side
and New York's
on that side.
And Florida's down the bottom.
Well,
That's honestly all that
pretty
matters.
much all you really need to know.
I think between California and New York,
It's all smorgasbord.
it's nah. Like if you don't live in somewhere like a state that borders the ocean, no.
No.
Like, yeah, class B.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Well, we're located in California. I live in the LA area, and then Sam lives in Orange County,
Which is Disneyland. I live by Disneyland. She lives by Hollywood. That's
Gotcha.
landmark.
Yeah.
It.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we all watch Selling Sunset.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
Selling
my
Sunsets.
God. Yes,
Like, obviously,
yes.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills versus OC.
Yeah, so
So-
I'm Real Housewives of Orange County. Vicky
Yeah.
Gumbelson is my idol. Like,
Mhm.
it's fine.
Girl.
And Vicky we trust. Vicky Gumbelson's daughter when I was doing clinicals in nursing school in the emergency department, and I wanted so bad to go up to her and be like, I love your mom. But like I didn't want to get like kicked out. I was like, that's gonna be weird. So I just like, stared at her like a weirdo the whole time. She was probably like,
So
this nursing
funny.
student is like staring at me.
I'm really annoyed
Someone
because
approach me at a wedding and be like, "Oh, hi! I just wanted to let you know that my daughter listens to your podcast." That was
Oh my
a great
God.
moment for me.
Oh, I love that.
That's
I
funny.
get really annoyed because on the Selling Sunset situation, the new girl who's from Manhattan Beach to me is like the worst representation of Manhattan Beach. I'm like, that is not at all what we are about here in the South Bay. I'm like, it's just, I'm like, whatever.
I've never even
representation.
watched.
No,
I
me
don't
neither.
really watch reality TV. I know you guys.
I
You
pick
guys
and
are probably
choose.
more well versed in American reality TV than I am.
No, Kelly watches like all the housewives.
All of them. I'm obsessed.
And she watches the Kardashians like
Oh.
she's
Oh, I
obsessed.
love the Kardashians too.
Love
Yeah,
the
I'm
Kardashians.
Kardashian queens. Love it. Yep.
Just like all the
Yeah.
dating ones. I watch all the Netflix dating ones.
Oh, like, Are You the One?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Too Hot
And
to
Love is
Handle.
Blind, Too
I
Hot to
love that.
Handle.
Ugh.
all
Love
of
on
it.
the Spectrum.
Yeah,
Best show ever.
you need to watch the Australian version. So we
Yeah.
did it in Australia, and
I'm
then
obsessed.
American
And
has
COVID
done it.
happened. And then COVID
Yeah,
happened.
yeah. But they've
So
just
good.
they've done another one, American one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I care more about Michael from Australia finding love and happiness than I do about my own dating life.
He has a podcast.
Oh,
That's I need it. I need Michael to find his queen.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
you need to
Yeah.
get
I will not find peace in my life until Michael finds his queen.
Well, he's like become quite famous actually
Yeah.
because of that Love on the Spectrum.
He
I
is
think
amazing.
everybody just loved him. Yeah.
Yeah.
His
His
little
gives you in your feels. You're like, he's just got the best heart, and
Oh,
he just
no.
and his family are hilarious.
Yeah.
Like,
His
oh,
mom.
so beautiful.
obsessed with that.
I need to get on this one because I haven't seen it. So
It's just a real feel good like show about people that
with
are on
autism.
the
Yeah.
on the spectrum,
Mm.
and it's just
It's
beautiful.
so-
And they
I
try
love
and
it.
help them find like
Yeah.
the right person
Yeah.
Yeah.
to be with.
And
It's
they're
just
so
beautiful.
awkward on dates, and I was like so glad to know that like when I dated I was like just as awkward. I'm not even on the spectrum, and I'm like, I would have been like, this is really bad.
You're like same.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what else? So the backstory with us. So Sam and I worked together in a NICU. She was 2 years above me.
Year and a half.
So we worked in the NICU Children's Hospital together for 3.5 years. And then I left, did some travel nursing all in the Southern California area. And then I came back a couple years later, and through the process, we had kind of like done a couple things together, just coming up with some like fun ideas when I kind of started doing a little bit of social media. And I was like, hey, like I'm getting all these questions from all these students and I would love to make something, but I don't want to do it alone. Like I wanted
and
to
your grammar is atrocious.
horrible seller.
Absolutely offensive.
I can come up with ideas and the creative, but like when it comes down to, I know what I'm not good at.
Her
like,
spelling is really offensive.
horrible.
I'm genuinely horrified.
It's like the dyslexia.
I've like texted her and been like, if you don't spell lose versus lose,
choose and lose.
We're done. This podcast is over. This
Yeah.
friendship is done. Like I'm giving you one more chance to spell those correctly before I cut this whole thing off.
I'm aware. I'm self-aware queen. I know these things. Okay?
But she did. She approached me to write like an ebook.
Ebook.
Well, so I'll blow up her backstory that she's going to be like humble about. She got married and then changed her Instagram to tips from Tori, and I literally just started like blogging all these tips, and I was like, okay, bitch, like do your thing. Like
What kind of tips?
At the time, it was just like, oh, like what I do for my wedding, how to clean your wedding ring,
how to organize your cabinet with the Amazon organizer.
Yeah, I checked your blog, and I need your like jalapeno marg recipe because margaritas are I'm tequila obsessed.
Oh, queen. Okay, well, I haven't done that, and I definitely should be. We're gonna make that. She's like, I'll have a good idea. But
So she was like tips from Tori, and it just started to like grow, and then she changed her Instagram to Nurse Tori and really kind of honed in on the NICU content. And then nursing students became obsessed with her because they'd ask her a million questions, and then she'd try to help, but it was like I can only give so much of myself on Instagram, answering every DM. What else could I do to reach like a larger audience? So she was like, hey, would you want to do this with me? I was like, sure. So then we like came up. The funny thing was we came up with a podcast idea
long time
in
ago.
2018. And our podcast name, I don't think we've ever admitted this. This is so cringe. Oh my God. Be prepared to just be like, oh my God, barf, you guys are embarrassing. It was going to be Break Room Banter.
Oh.
Our whole concept is actually kind of what the Cellfie Show is.
It is. It's very similar.
Is to be like, oh, what do you talk about when you're off the clock in your break room? And just like, I'm not on the clock anymore. I can open up and say whatever I want. But that's
what's the Cellfie meaning?
So fast forward. So we created these products and these things, and then it kind of fizzled out just because of timing of our lives.
I was like imploding in my personal life.
She was having there was a lot going on, and so it kind of went to rest. And then fast forward, I don't know, maybe a year or two later. I slowly was kind of becoming like a podcast junkie. And I was like, I had, 2 or 3 podcasts that I was absolutely obsessed with. And I would listen to these episodes and I would be like, oh my God, if I had that guest, this is what I would have asked, because I feel like this is more pertinent for, like, this is what I would want to know. Or to put the spin on, I felt like the representation of the nurse community wasn't there, or not even nurse, healthcare in general, and like the things that we see and do.
So stuffy.
It's just, I mean, well, first of all, to me, medical branding, everyone, it's boring. It's horrible. Like everyone who's done medical things previously,
it's always on stage professional. No one wants to drop the curtain and keep it real.
Right.
It's all very.
And then I would hear like, these wellness podcasts, blah, blah, blah. And then it would be like, well, get up every day at the same time at 5 a.m., blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck you, I work nights. Like,
I work shifts.
Yeah. So I just felt like, okay, I wanted to do this. And then, so I came up with the concept of like what I wanted, taboo topics. I want to do something fun, like have guests on, blah, blah, blah. And then I came up with the name Cellfie. Just randomly, I saw a cup on Etsy and it had a little cell and Cellfie. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cute, but like I want to make it chic cute. Like I want it to be like, I wanted to take a pun but make it like a medical little moment. So that happened. We launched in March of 2020, and about 7 months in, I was like, I hit a point where I was solo at the time. And I was like, I'm not pulling what I want. Like, I need something else. This show needs spicy comedy. I want banter. I want like a sister sort of kind of comedy moment. And so I was like, hey, like,
I'd been a guest like a couple times. I'd done
Twice.
3. Well, I've just done the 3.
Yep. And
and
I feel like I'm listening to my train of thought
It's so
on why
true.
we started, because I was the same. I was like, nurses need something to listen to that's not educational, that's not preachy, that's literally like the shit you talk about in the staff room after the patient just spat at your feet and you're like, oh, fuck that, like, what, you know, and then
And I
that,
think
all
there's
that
a huge,
taboo.
I think there's a huge difference too between like starting a podcast to boost your business or then starting a podcast because it's a real passion project. Like, I think, I totally agree. Everything you just said, I was like, this is exactly why we started the podcast. We wanted to talk about highlight that like wicked or dark sense of humor that nurses notoriously have, and like the things that we laugh at that like civilians would think are just absolutely inhuman. Like those are the things. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
just have fun. And like we do, like we've done a podcast that's like Resus for Dummies, and Alisha was like, D's
don't
not
be a dick. Check for danger.
Like, you know, like we're not trying to be educational. There's plenty of nurse educated podcasts, so we just want it to be fun. And I feel like you girls are identical. You're just in America, like we said, a parallel universe happening. And I love that. And do you know what? Until you just said then about your name, you wanted to take the cell and make it like nursing. I did not even put cell, like a cell, into Cellfie.
Are you joking?
I just had this like
straight away.
Oh, I was like, I know thing.
I like that though, because I'm like obsessed with branding. I love branding. I love creative. Like, this is like, for me, the creative half of it is like, I love just doing all of like that side of it. It's subtle, so it's like I kind of like that. It's not like either you're in on it or you know what I mean? Like,
and if you're not in on it, that's okay. Like,
and as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, I'm such an idiot. Like,
well, in the early days of the Cellfie Show, Tori's Instagram always had like her supplemental posts were always medical puns. Where it'd be like,
I would always like to tie in something kind of punny.
Yeah, we love that too.
Yeah, like
Aussies love a good pun.
It was like cutesy, like it'd be like a little bladder that was like, "You're in luck." And so when she asked me to join the podcast, I was like, "Yeah, I'm down." But we had to like rebrand and shoot the new cover with like our pictures both on it, and then we like kind of sauced it up because it was like,
it's hot, spicy.
It's like, let's be like a little spicy. So we did that, and I was like, "All right, listen." The medical puns to stop here, though.
I'll squeeze in a little bit.
She will, but she's way more cheesy and corny than I am.
Yeah.
And like cutesy.
But also we want to chic it up.
Yeah.
But I also, the other thing too, which I think is like for us is like I'm like a pop culture girly, and I kind of wanted something that like isn't so nursey. Like I wanted to kind of come away from like I wanted to open it up to bigger than just us as nurses. So I kind of, that was a big thing for me too, was like, we can, it's a hook, but like for us, I like to do,
absolutely.
So that's where that kind of started. So we started together and we've been doing it now for
a year and a half.
Yeah. And you're like smashing it.
Thank you.
We're out here trying.
Yeah, it's been so fun. I mean, it's crazy. Like I would say the evolution for us as like, I think as partners together and doing this together has been
even finding our like our thing. Like we played around with so many ideas. What's our like hook, what's our catch, what's our like thing, and we used to do like a single girl married girl life tip, then we used to do a question of the week, we used to do this and that, and then we finally kind of found our like groove with our unpopular opinions and we're like, oh, this is fun, that's our thing. Like,
what is your unpopular opinion? Let's do it.
Yeah, I feel like you must ask everyone and nobody asks you.
I have a running list. Hang on, let's look and see, because I actually have a pretty whoa, honey.
So we do every episode we give our unpopular opinion. So I've had a lot of very unpopular ones, but I feel like this goes against everything I always preach as nurses, because I literally tell everyone there's no such thing as a stupid question. When in doubt, always ask. Put your patient first, humble yourself, like ask the question, swallow your pride. You're not too smart ever, but that's a fucking lie, because there's absolutely such thing as a dumb question. And if you ask me one, I'm gonna stare at you and be like, are you fucking kidding me? So I'm kind of a hypocrite, because I preach to always ask and don't ever be afraid of looking stupid, but also just like stop being a dumbass. Like,
I feel like I'm like that with staff, and then when patients ask me stupid questions, I'm like,
oh, never.
Really?
There's no such thing. Like, just
ask away.
You're like, did you really just ask that? Ooh, cringe. I personally feel that steakhouses are made for the sides, not the steak.
Oh, agree, because I don't like steak.
I am going for the seafood tower. I am going for all of the sides. I'm going for
the mac and cheese bites.
All of this, all the appetizers like given to me, but like I will leave the steak. Thank you. I'm good. But everything else, delicious. Yes, I'm going for that.
Well, here's an unpopular opinion on steak. If you go to a steakhouse and order filet mignon, you are a fucking dumbass.
Idiot.
You are an absolute moron, because that is the worst cut of steak that absolutely exists, and you literally don't like flavor. It tastes ribeye, obviously, bone in.
Oh my god, you would get on so well with my husband. He come home the other day with a 700-gram ribeye. He's like, "Can you cook it for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah," but he didn't want any sides. He just wanted the meat.
I'm taking care of like babies that size, like NICU babies that size.
Holy shit!
Yeah, holy shit! He's like, yeah, like there's a restaurant in Perth that does this like challenge. And it's a 1 kilo rump, 500 grams of fries, and 500 grams of veggies. And if you can eat it in less than 30 minutes, you get it for free and your name on a ball, on a ward.
Is it called the acute myocardial infarction?
Yeah. It's huge. And like it comes out and it's this like massive platter, and my husband's like, fuck yeah. And I'm like,
it's like a comedy.
It's the sides that put you off. Like you can eat a kilo of meat, but you can't eat like
a kilo of meat. I love that. The smallest baby that I've ever taken care of in the NICU was 410 grams.
Ooh, my daughter was 3 pounds when she was born. She was born at 32 weeks.
Oh, that's a nice chunk. I cannot conceptualize what a weight is in pounds for babies, because I've never had my own children. So I've only worked in the NICU.
Weird. How weird is this? Right, so we do everything in grams and kilos.
Yeah,
but babies. Pounds.
Well, no, they do it in kilos and grams now. The pounds is only there as like because it's always been done that way. But nowadays, like when I had my baby last year, so she was 3.5 kilos, but that I was like, what's that in pounds? Because we don't have like a reference to that. When I was born, I was 8.3 pounds. Yeah. So it was like,
I honestly cannot like
it's annoying.
Conceptualize what size. If someone tells me how big their baby was in pounds,
I know.
Because I like know in grams and kilos.
Yeah, well, grams are far more specific, aren't they? Like the unit measure is a lot smaller.
I think it was like 1.3.
And same thing with temperature, Celsius versus
Fahrenheit.
I
only do Celsius.
We only do Celsius.
I have no idea what Fahrenheit
you guys do Celsius.
Not all hospitals. I do transport.
So basically, the rest of the country has to catch up to hospital systems.
Basically, I'm like, I don't understand why the fuck we're like, metric system, move the decimal. No. Hear me out. Miles.
Miles is weird.
You're like, what the fuck? Like,
I don't know.
We're like, let's take something that maps inches, centimeters. That now we're talking. It's like that literally mathematically does not make sense.
This is part of the reality show that we were talking about earlier. You know, it's a running reality show.
Yeah, but exactly. I do think that healthcare has like made us we're like jaded Celsius and kilo girls.
Yeah.
So what do you do now? Obviously you have a podcast, but you're both nurses and you work in very different industries. What do you do now?
Tell us a bit about that.
So we met in the NICU. I was a NICU nurse as a new grad. So I was a nursing assistant in nursing school for adults in adult oncology. and then realized that adults are so gross and disgusting. And
So true.
the smallest poop on earth. So I did NICU.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Small poop, small diapers, life was good. But I did NICU for 7 years, had a little bit of a burnout, like just was miserable. Loved it. Loved my time in the NICU. Still keep in touch. I have NICU babies that are turning 8 this year that I still keep in contact with the families. Loved it, but had a mega burnout, wasn't happy. And I was like, you're just going to keep showing up to work unhappy every single day? Or are you going to do something about it? Yeah. So I did something about it. So I joined my hospital's emergency
I was actually
transfer.
with her on the shift where she had like a literal breakdown.
Like
it
crying,
was just like
couldn't breathe, crying.
And that you...
Well, I walked in and shit happened that was stupid. And then they said, here's your assignment. I go to the room to give my whatever day shift nurse, I was night shift. I was like, okay, I got to go get report right now, even though I'm like about to just have a literal meltdown. And I walk up to get report from my day shift nurse, and it's Tori. And I see her, and I just burst into tears. And she looks at me like, oh shit. Yeah. And it was a twin room. Yeah. So it was twins. Yeah. So she like pulls me in the room because there was no family or parents in there. She pulls me in the room, and I'm just like,
we did everything but report.
Everything but report. But shortly after that, I was able to transfer to the emergency transport team. So ambulance and helicopter nursing transfers for the children's hospital, doing peds ICU, NICU, trauma, cardiac ICU, all of that. And I did that for 3 years. And oh God, this is like so bittersweet. So I got my master's degree in nursing in 2016. Yeah. And after I got my master's degree, I started teaching nursing school. Yeah. So I used to just teach the clinicals, and that was cool. And I taught pediatric clinicals. And after 3 years of that, in January of 2020, I took a full-time teaching position, teaching theory, teaching pediatrics. So in the classroom. And then in March, one day, they just sent out an email and said, don't come back to campus. COVID.
COVID, of course.
My God.
I was like, shit.
Not me personally, just everyone. From the janitor to the students to everyone, like, do not, like, we're closing campus. And then that's the last time I ever set foot on campus. So I started teaching online via Zoom for the entire pandemic. So I taught all the way up until this past year of January 2022. And I started to know in the fall of 2021, hey, we're going to go back on campus. COVID's kind of getting better. We're going to go back on campus spring 2022. And I was like, y'all can go back on campus. My ass is never going to do that again. Like I've been comfortable now. I take naps between classes. I water my plants. I walk my dogs. I can cook breakfast. Like hell no, I'm not going back on campus. So I need to find something new. So did a lot of networking and all this. And I actually in January 2022 started full-time as a vendor or rep for a medical device company. Yeah. So I cover the Los Angeles, Las Vegas territory. So I travel back and forth between LA and Vegas, have lots of accounts between those two cities. And I'm just Monday to Friday grinding it out in corporate America now.
Do you get lots of nap time?
No, I haven't.
Into your nap schedule?
I have not slept since January of 2020. I'm like exhausted. We're recording this now, and I was just working in the field all day, and then came straight here to record. Yeah. So I left the house this morning at like 7 a.m. and it's 9:42 p.m. So I don't know any peace in my life. But yeah, so I just resigned this week from my flight nursing job.
Yeah,
it was hard.
I decided when I quit teaching full time, and I said, okay, I'm gonna keep my flight nursing per diem on the weekends, just casual employee, pick up when they need me. And from January to June, I can't do it all. Like I can't work full time Monday to Friday, 5 days a week, and then do a 12-hour shift on the weekends. And do the podcast. I am just and running on fumes. It's I can't. So I just resigned this week, and it
was bittersweet.
I haven't even talked about it on Instagram or our podcast yet. You guys are the first people I've even told. So it's like,
you know, saying it out loud.
It's like I've committed to it. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this medical device thing, but in order to move up in that company, I need to focus. And so it was time. It was time.
Yeah.
It's been bittersweet. I was at that hospital for 10 years.
That was her. Yeah. And I would say you're very emotionally attached. Like her sister works there. Her stepdad was a big piece of the hospital.
Yeah.
So it's just a big thing for you. So yeah.
But it's 2022. My new job and this podcast are really where I need to spend my time. So.
Yeah.
But I'll always have my like flight nursing. Like I'm not getting. I don't think people I work with will ever listen to this. Hopefully not. I don't know. I don't want to give my flight suit back. I'm not good. Everyone asks. I lost it. It's so
allegedly
cool. The flight suit is so cool. I lost. I don't know. I will check my closet. I will. It's missing. It's so missing.
Or it got a big tear in it.
I left it there last time I changed.
Yeah.
No idea.
It's hanging up in my locker.
Yeah.
What about you, Tori? What do you do?
Yeah. So Sam and I worked together full time in the NICU, and then I left and did some travel nursing up in like LA and then again in Orange County area. So I've worked NICU. I also did a year of pediatric critical care float pool. So I did CVICU oncology, peds, PICU and NICU as well. And then so I actually also hit the burnout here.
You hit it first.
Yeah, I did. At 3.5 years, I hit my burnout. And then I would say like year 6 going into 7, I was like, I need a big change. So I started NP school, and I was in nurse practitioner school for probably about a year. And that was right. The end of that year was probably like beginning of 2020. And that's when I had started the show. And I had sort of competing factors of, working bedside, the show, and then school. And it was another breakdown moment I had. And I was basically like, I broke down to her and I was like bawling, crying in the middle of a pharmacology class. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And she basically looked at me and was like, is this do you want to be a nurse practitioner the rest of your life?
Do you want to wake up and go do the actual
that.
job of a nurse practitioner? Like, is that what you actually see for your future and career? And she's like, no. I'm like, then why the fuck are you in nurse practitioner? What are you doing?
And I think it took that. I mean, so I don't regret it because I do the education part. Okay, great. And I, brush up on a lot of things, blah, 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 blah. But I think what's interesting is it really drove me into the podcast and realizing like the whole goal of like what I wanted to do was to be an advocate for people, to give them resources, to like educate, to be like to have, because we know so many things and we are dealing with people who don't have resources and don't know where to turn and don't have like this information. And I just wanted to be that resource. And I realized I'm like, I can literally do that on such a bigger level and scale.
Yeah, for sure.
Cellfie Show and develop that. And so that's where that kind of came in. And then, so I've been working NICU primarily since, because I realized through that as well that I'm, after working critical care float pool, I was like, I really just love NICU. I am not, I like peds and I still do float to peds. And I like a change up from time to time, but I'm really truly at like who I am at my core. I'm a NICU nurse. Yeah. So I currently now work night shift, NICU. I work 2 per diem jobs, one of which we actually might be quitting our job in the city. I might be resigning soon. So I'm
like, I did it. You're next.
Yeah.
And don't you feel like too having a podcast gives you like creative freedom that you can't have at work? Like maybe in the NICU, I mean, I suppose they're too little to notice even if you did do something creative for them. But like I feel like the podcast for me, like I'm right into like I do like amateur theatre. I know, cringe, but I love it. And I feel like even just doing the podcast is like a way for me to be creative and to write. Like I love writing, and I just feel like it's a way for me to be creative that I can't do at work.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, especially for me, I am at the core of who I am, a true creator. Like I used to paint, and I'm really into like, I'm a creative person where like, if I get something, I'm like, I need to get it out and do it. Yeah. So, but it's also nice to have a partner who is on the opposite end where she can kind of rein it in and help me with the shit that I hate. I'm currently obtaining my master's degree because I can't have this bitch have a master's degree and me not have a master's degree.
It makes me want to go get my PhD.
Or
her.
But
It'll be like, it'll be Tori and Dr. Sam.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I need to do it now solely just so the Cellfie Show has to say Dr. Sam.
She would literally do it to be petty. She would literally do it to do
I have absolutely zero use for a PhD or doctorate, especially since I left higher education.
Yeah.
Unless you're really gonna like go into being a professor as a career for like, there's really no need for your PhD.
You just
or
want your mate
doctorate.
to say doctor.
It's a lot of effort and a lot of money just for
There's
to one up your mate.
A lot of,
Yeah,
but that's how petty I am, because I wouldn't do it for the career. It would get me nowhere career wise. I wouldn't make more. It wouldn't get me a
They'd
job.
be like,
I
you're
couldn't have.
overqualified for this job.
It's literally just so you would have to call me Dr. Sam.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
That is my only consideration for ever going back.
And I will say, like, I was shocked when you guys said, like, you don't have, you know, boards essentially, like our NCLEX. Like, I'm the worst test taker. I hate school. I'm not good at it. So I'm like drudging through it. I like learning, but I really struggle through school.
Yeah, I say that too. Like, I really love learning, but I'm such a bad student.
Same.
Like, I don't like those constraints that being a student puts on you.
Yeah.
It's hard. So, yeah, so now I think just the two of us are, you know, living it up, doing selfie life and being selfie moms. And
Good.
yeah, it's been super fun.
Yeah.
Selfie mom.
Given the amount of burnout that obviously like so many nurses are facing, especially after a pandemic, I mean, if you've been working bedside through this whole pandemic, high five to you. But what do you do? I know you both have lives outside of nursing. I recently saw, Tori, that you were competing in like a horse event.
She gallops around an arena.
No, really, Tori is a horsey girl. I don't know, like that's an American thing. Where we like.
No, it's not.
In Australia, we say horse people are nuts.
Horse people.
Okay, that's like universal.
We literally make fun of horsey girls.
I'm a red flag.
Because my little sister was a horsey girl, but we're like, those were like, okay, I saw this tweet sums it up. I saw this tweet that said, I can't believe the girl that used to pretend to be a horse in the second grade is engaged and I'm not. Yeah. And that sums up how we like, look at the horse people in this country.
Yes. Self-aware queen over here. I know.
We've always seen horse people as like loose, like fucking loose.
I used to be a horse person. I grew up with horses. My dad trained trotters, race horses, not like not gallopers, like trotters, the ones that have the cart on the back. And I grew up riding horses and doing pony club and everything, but I never fitted in at pony club. I was like, I was the loser. Everyone would call me, everyone picked on me all the time, but I couldn't have given two shits, or I was just fucking happy to be there. And my horse was like, my horse wouldn't float. So I would ride my horse to pony club and get there hours before everybody else, so the sweat would dry off him and I looked like I just arrived, but I didn't. But I couldn't have cared less. And when I went and worked on cattle station as a cowgirl and got in my first Western saddle, I was like, this is why my German riding instructor was wrong all those years. Like, I should not have been in an English saddle. I should have been in this Western and just loping along, living my life. And living your best life, girl. My German riding instructor would like whack me with a whip because my knees wouldn't be in or my elbows would flap, and I don't know why Mum spent so much money, to be honest, because I couldn't care. But your horsing again. Horse event looks so.
You have a horse show coming up.
So my mom's a horse trainer. So I grew up on a ranch, from day one. Yeah. So my mom's been in the horse industry forever. So she, at this point, does more like she boards boutique, like basically retired horses will stay at the ranch. And then we have a couple show horses that we do. So I do English. I do saddle seat, which is the breed that I ride is American saddlebred. So it's a cross between, it's sort of a mix of different breeds, but it's like thoroughbred mixed with, they're basically like high stepping horses.
All horses aren't thoroughbreds.
I love you.
I thought that was like what a horse was.
No, honey.
If they're bred thoroughly.
There you go.
I had someone call me a thoroughbred and I was offended. I was like,
that's a compliment.
I feel like that is a compliment. Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that
they probably call me a Clydesdale.
Well, someone said I had nice hind quarters, and I was like, "That's not."
they're not wrong.
Can you
They're not
stop
wrong.
referring me like a farm
livestock?
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah.
can you stop talking about me as like a farm animal?
Yeah.
I would like to be referred to as a stallion. Thank you.
You know,
A boy with
you have any balls? You don't
Yeah,
have any
I
balls.
have balls.
You do have big balls. Yeah, so we do that, and then we also do Frisians. So Frisians originate in the Netherlands. So
Frisian
we're-
cows.
No, Frisian horses. Oh, they're
Oh.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, they're big black, like the horses from Game of Thrones, like the big black
Yeah,
ones.
look
Yeah.
at
Oh,
those.
fuck yeah.
I'll live
Long
Google a
range.
picture of her.
Nice.
They're freaking
Stunning.
gorgeous. But you have to import them from either Germany or the Netherlands because they have the breeding over there. So
Wow.
yeah, so my mom runs that. But anyway, that's my D-tune. A big piece of it is riding, and you know, I spend a lot of time with my mom at the ranch, and you know, we do a lot of all of our, you know, horse things together. So
You
we
and
do
Jacob
that.
are beach people too.
Yeah, so yeah, and
You're
then
a big
so
beach girl.
we live here in Redondo Beach, like a little less than a mile from the beach. So we do a lot of beach time. We're big skiers. We're pretty active. Like we like
That's
to be able
awesome.
to.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I also love to sleep in and
Yeah, I was like, all right,
drink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Sam, I know you're like big in, well, maybe not so much at the moment. I know you're trying to get back into like the powerlifting.
Yeah, I love powerlifting.
She
I
kills it,
started it in
man.
2018 competing,
Yeah.
and I was super cool. Like I used to lift 5 or 6 times a week. This year, I did a competition in February. Was my last one, and it was awesome. But I travel so much for work right now. I'm really struggling to be on a consistent training schedule.
Yeah,
So
of
my
course.
coach is a little mad at me because I do have a powerlifting coach. He's like, "You are a trash can." I'm like, "I know." I'm gonna compete again. Probably it's hard because we're going to Iceland for New Year's
January,
Eve.
yeah.
So I'm like, there's one in January I want to do, but that trip will basically ruin prep
Your
or
training,
training.
yeah.
So I'm like, maybe I'll do one in February. Basically, I need to get my ass up and schedule on. But I love powerlifting. I love
Yeah.
deadlifting, picking up heavy things. I'm a dog plant mom weirdo.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love that.
So if you follow my Instagram, you
So
can
is
see
Alisha.
all my
She's like a
dogs.
dog plant mom too. Yeah.
That's like my
And
life.
I also really love, well, I never competed with powerlifting, but I used to like exercise like fucking like 6 times a week, probably more. And now I like, after I had my baby, I was getting back into the gym, and now I've like got a knee effusion. So I haven't been
Oh,
able to
no.
like do anything for 6 weeks. So my plants are
being
getting
old.
lots of water. I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, it's the worst.
If you would suggest one episode of your podcast to our listeners to listen to, and I mean, you've got a lot of episodes out there, and I just started with some of the episodes with just the two of you rather than guests, and went back and listened to some of your like salty sweet episodes.
Yes,
which were,
I
like,
love those.
fun. It's like us in our debriefs,
Yeah.
but a little bit hardcore.
Yeah, it's probably, I love when Sam, I really want to know, did you end up getting your nipples pierced?
I did.
Oh, she did.
They
Yeah.
hurt so
I
bad.
haven't like caught up lately.
Okay, so it hurts to wear a seatbelt
Oh,
right now. Yeah, I was driving today and I was like, "Fuck the seatbelt. If I die, I die." Like this is painful. But I actually had to go back on Monday morning because the barbell in the like thing was like a little too short. I think it was because I got them pierced, and then now like a week later I was like PMSing, gonna start my period, so my boobs were all swollen.
Oh,
So then it made the barbell, like the balls on it, start to like go too tight, and it's like the whole of the piercing was trying to like suck the ball, and I was like, "This hurts." I was like, abort mission, but I was out of town for the weekend, so I was like trying to band-aid them, and I was like, couldn't stop touching my nipples all weekend. I was like a hot mess.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the whole week I've just been like, what did I do? Like I've pierced my nipples now. Like I can't even like. I'm out of commission. if
She
you know
wasn't
what I
not
mean.
gonna do it, so I'm like, we gotta.
I was gonna do
full-fledged.
it. Like
Yeah,
once
it
I
was
had
like-
the idea, there's no.
She
slowing
literally,
this train down.
we
I'm
literally were
absolutely
just
nuts.
talking one day, and she was like, "I want to pierce my nipples," and I was like, "Okay, let's go."
And I'm like, I want to do it on Friday. She's like, okay. And then we went and did it.
Yeah.
But now I'm like having this aftermath where I'm like, what did I do? I'm like, when will these ever be allowed to be, you know, having a good time
They
again?
are like the one thing they were saying that like forever to heal.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the longest thing.
So I'm like glad I did it, and it didn't hurt. They look great. They're
Yeah,
adorable.
yeah,
They're absolutely adorable.
We
I
love
took
it.
selfies with them the second time. Funny enough, then my phone got stolen.
Oh,
weekend.
yeah.
I'm like, oh man, someone's got a phone full of nipple piercings
piece.
right now.
Enjoy them. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I totally hijacked Kelly's question. So please tell our listeners which one they have to listen to.
Yeah.
I actually think our one recently on micro traumas and death and dying
and surviving healthcare.
Surviving was very well received. Like I don't think we've ever
gotten
gotten
110.
Yeah, episode 110, death, grief, micro traumas, burnout, and surviving healthcare. I think that was a very like candid.
We got a lot of really good feedback on that episode.
Yeah.
We tried, you know, what's interesting is like I think I really do. We love our guests, but I also really do love our soul. I think our solos are really fun.
Yeah.
That's
we
why
always
when
say
we
that
do
too.
the bonus. That's why we've.
I love the bonus
are
ones
so
because
fun.
they're 20 minutes.
Little
they're
segments,
not always.
bite-sized.
Sometimes they have nothing to do with nursing. Like we did the Smasher Pass on fast food.
Yeah, that was so funny. I loved it. Yeah.
And we've done Smasher Pass like on celebrities before, and we'll just do whatever like funny things we want to talk about, and that kind of helps sometimes.
We're getting more requests to make them longer, and we're like, you guys,
I know.
I'm like,
we gotta,
but we've also had some like amazing guests.
I mean,
too,
who's been like your favorite guest that you just loved?
There's these two nurses in Australia. Recently.
Yeah, everyone go check out that episode. They were amazing.
It's episode 120.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so cute.
Too funny. They'll all go see. There's not as many of our listeners as there probably are of yours, but we'll send them your way.
Yeah.
I listened to the Nurse Sonia one, which actually was
unexpected.
Like, it was very unexpected. Like I
for us too.
Loved it. Like it went way deeper probably than you imagined it would go. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was like I actually messaged her afterwards and I was like, oh, I love that episode.
She's amazing.
She was wonderful. It's funny too because with our guests, it's so interesting to see like where it goes. She was one that I think was really, we both needed it too because I think we were both kind of in. It's really weird how I think for us on certain weeks, like the things that line up are like the perfect thing that we needed that week, or there will be times where we decide to like pop off on something because it's relevant. We obviously recently just talked about the Roe v. Wade turnover and what that means for us, and we just so happened to have
like
someone...
we already had this girl that has her PhD in sociology scheduled to be on Monday, and on Friday abortion all of a sudden is like fuck you women, and so we're like all right, we were going to talk about inequalities in healthcare just in general in our US healthcare system and all the inequalities and not focus on one specific topic, but once this happened we were so just shocked, and we were like all right, well we have an expert that has her PhD in sociology that we can actually talk about abortion and inequality, and so we were able to like kind of adjust and tailor to that. So that one was really cool. We're kind of like hornballs, so we had like a sex psychologist on, Dr. Justin Lee Miller. That was a fun one. Avery Woods was really good. Spicy, really spicy. She's a like nurse blogger. And
I think we follow her. She's very.
She's fun.
Oh, so much.
Yes.
She's so sexy. That one was good. Also, another one, because I feel like we probably have similar, people. Alexis Hinckley, Nurse Lex. She's on she's a TikTok girly, also on Instagram, but actually I think her episode was really good too. She opened up about something that like she hasn't really talked a lot about on TikTok. So I don't know. We just have these really wonderful, I love our community, and that's part of the race. Like I feel like for us, it's like we love this space, and I think just getting a little deeper with a lot of the people that are in that social media space and having the conversations has just been awesome.
And you guys had Nurse Blake on. We did too recently, and it was awesome because I feel like he was way more open and off the clock than I expected, because he has such a big platform.
I know.
And he has to appease, like, to us, we're like, we found our people and we don't give a fuck if people like everyone likes us. Like we found our people.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
our
that's right.
people.
Yeah.
Our people like us for what we bring to the table.
Exactly.
Not everyone likes us, and that's fine, but we found our people, our community. But he has a very, very broad audience that he has to appeal to. And I was very I thought it was so cool how he came on and was just super authentic. And
he brought it. He really brought the energy.
It was awesome.
Really fun.
He just seems like, you know, that's who he is all the time. Like when we were chatting to him, he just seems so genuine. And I think sometimes with those really big, I don't know, I feel like they put on a show for social media, and then maybe behind closed doors they're a different person. But I feel like that's not probably the case.
The biggest telltale sign for me when I'm with that thing, the thing that stood out the most with that situation, when we were booking with him, he directly worked with us. Like it wasn't anyone else. It was him. And what was interesting is I'm like, you know, you can tell, you know, when you're talking to someone through email or DMs, like he would DM me directly, and I'm like, it is so amazing to me. I love people like that just are so grounded, and you know, because
not have your people call my people,
right? I just thought it was really nice, and I, you know, you can tell. It's so funny too, because we've had a couple moments with other situations where they have representation, and it's a very different.
Yeah, we'll reach out to people, and then we'll get an email back being like, "Well, can you give us your stats?" And basically, like, worthy of our guests' time.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, well, I mean, we figured. I said to Kelly, like, we were so humbled that he was like happy to come on our show, because we're obviously
and replied within 24 hours of me saying email. He was like, "Oh my god, I'd love to," and I was like, "Really?" Like,
he actually told us. On our show, he's like, "Oh, I just did 2 Humerus nurses for Australia."
And it's funny because there's a doctor in Australia who wrote a book called Emotional Female, and she talked about her time becoming a doctor and how she burnt out, and how, like, the book was amazing. And I was like, I emailed her and I was like, "I would love you to come on the podcast. Like, I would love to know," because in the book she does talk about nurses being like, you know, the women sort of pushed her aside, but, you know, like, it was interesting. It was an interesting take on nurses, and I thought, it'd be cool to talk to her. And she's Asian, she's Japanese, and, you know, there's, you know, she's obviously in a minority, and she's female, and she was, you know, put in sexual positions to advance in her career as a doctor and stuff like that. And I thought, you know, it would be great to talk to her. And then, like, her publicist emailed me back and said she's far too busy at the moment. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait 12 months and then I'm going to message her, because the book will die down a little bit. And like, but she's, you know,
there are certain people that it's worth it, you know, and there are certain ones where, I know what you mean. And, you know, it's kind of funny too, because I just see it as like, okay, if it was meant to be, it was meant to be. We're not going to
absolutely.
And, you know, so we
want people on our show that want to be here.
Exactly.
Our audience deserves people excited to give their time.
I have a ad hoc, off the cuff question. I hope you don't mind.
Yes.
Have you guys? I'm assuming, you know, being in the public space, like, I'm assuming that you've dealt with a little bit of negative feedback, or, you know, I want to know, like, anything you can tell us about that and how you handle that as professionals. Like, I think Kelly and I have had a few little, and because we're definitely not on the same scale as you, but we've had a few little sort of negative criticisms of us, and because it's all new, and no one's ever really criticized me as a professional nurse, but being a podcaster, you're in the eye.
Yeah, you're opening up yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like, do you have any Tori's tips on
we do.
Can I read you guys our 1-star review that we haven't saved?
This is our favorite.
Literally so obsessed with it.
I'm gonna get out of that.
I know. Podcaster to podcast, we're like,
I know, right?
Here we go.
So it is. It's 1 star. It goes, great guests, fake hosts. Great guests, fake hosts. Or the hosts are tolerable when they're being themselves and not speaking in hip millennial verbiage 90% of the time. I was like, did she call us hip? That's what I heard. I just heard that you called us hip. And I was like, secondly, we are fucking millennials.
Yeah,
like, we're not old. We speak in millennial slang because we're literally fucking millennials. And I was like, And we're not fake. We're literally the most like.
It's just so funny.
I'm like, just be like, you guys suck, and I'd be like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
To call us fake, I'm like, no, you literally turn off the mics, and we're the exact same way.
Yeah, I feel like you don't even know
Yeah.
someone's fake if you don't actually know who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That was our, and we get it. I will say, I think, to be honest, with the podcast was interesting. Okay, because we've popped off on a lot of shit, and we have said,
especially
really,
in America with vaccine stuff,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
very
we popped off on a lot.
polarizing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we were vocal about it.
We were vocal, and I will say this: I am someone who I try to very much think of like how to say things in a well-rounded way.
I don't.
Yeah.
Right. So like, it's like digestible, right? Like it's something where I'm saying like I see your side, but this is right.
Yeah,
Sure,
that's
yeah.
right.
In our podcast space, what's ironic is I feel like literally we could think on our hands how many times we've had negative things come through.
Yeah.
It's really
Same.
weird. Like we found
Yeah.
the most amazing like podcasting to me is like, this is why I love it so much, because of course we're gonna get some hate. There's that, but I would say for the majority, like, it's amazing. Social media, Instagram and TikTok is a different story.
I will say your
Yeah.
Instagram, you have a very amazing loyal followers.
Yeah.
And you rarely get
Rarely.
negative. Like, there's a few things when you posted about abortion a couple months ago, but they weren't even people that followed you. It was just people that saw your
it was
post.
the side of,
Yeah.
I get so much
Because
hate on
what
Instagram, and it's because my page is not tailored to any sort of demographic, right?
Yeah.
Half of my people that follow me are power lifters
Yeah.
that do not work in healthcare in any way, shape, or form. And when I post about nursing stuff, they're like, I don't give a fuck. Show us your lifting or your ass. And they're like, I followed you for ass and squats, and you're not giving me that. You're going on this nursing rampage. And then a lot of nurses follow me, and they're like, this Instagram thought is just posting booty pics and her gym stuff all the time. I followed you for nursing content. And I'm like, don't follow me. I'm going to give you what I give you.
Yeah.
If you don't like
Exactly.
dogs, my ass, powerlifting, and nursing, then don't follow me, because that's what you're getting with my
It's
page.
like such a balance now too, because like social media, it's like everyone says to niche down and all of these things, but it's like, at the end of the day, like,
I don't care if I get a big following. I want to just put what I want to put.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
if I don't enjoy it, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if I don't enjoy
Yeah.
Instagram, I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to post what I want. If it doesn't mean that my following blows up, I don't give a shit, because the people I do have are cool. But I'm also very politically outspoken, and the U.S. is a very polarizing political climate.
Definitely.
Especially in the last 4 years,
And so
it's
divisive,
just
yeah.
so divisive. And so even I was posting something about gun control just this week, and I had so many boys crying in my things telling me how close-minded and brain dead I am and don't have an argument, and this, I'm just getting all this hate, and I was like,
I feel like the abortion
care.
laws following a child, like a school massacre, is just
Massacre.
the epitome of
Nonsensical.
irony
and a
of
formula
America.
shortage.
And a formula shortage, exactly. Yeah,
and they don't see it. The people, when I'm posting about that,
Yeah.
are literally like, I refuse to wear a mask during the pandemic. You cannot make me get vaccinated, but pro-life, we must save all the babies, but fuck you, we're not going to pay for school lunches. We're going to not pass the bill that's going to help with the formula shortage. And I don't care how many school massacres they are. We have a right to guns. And it's like, what in the fuck are you
And
like?
You have to wonder how many of them have lost kids. Like, it's never the fucking, like, it's never them. Yeah, it's never them that it happens to.
And
And
I'm
you're
just
never
like,
going to change their mind anyway.
No.
So
No,
you're
it's when
always
you-
wasting
yeah.
your breath, aren't you?
No,
Yeah.
and so I will post things, and then I get flooded with DMs, and when I don't reply back, people are like, someone's like, you just like to hear yourself talk. I'm like, then don't follow me. I'm like, but you're not entitled to my time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have a job. I posted something in the morning. It was like 7 a.m. And then I went to work. And then I have all these people wanting to fight and engage with me.
Yeah.
And I told one of them, I said, I don't have time for this. They're like, that's just because you don't have an argument. It's like, no. I have a job. I'm a college fucking professor with a master's degree. I got the argument, but I don't have the time. And they're like, well, you just post to hear yourself talk. I'm like, I don't have to engage you.
Yeah.
You're not entitled to my time.
So this is where we differ. This is what I would do.
She blocks.
Yeah. Same.
I've gotten better at that. She's taught me.
I will literally, I don't, so here's my thing too with it, is like, I don't
protect your peace.
Protect my peace and my energy.
Yes.
I'm really sensitive to those things. So like,
same.
I can't
I'm a middle child. I'm always ready for a fight.
Right. and that's like that for me personally. I'm like, if there's any of that going on, I'm like, delete, block, done.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
But it does get annoying because people think that you're entitled. They're entitled to you. And it's like, I don't owe you an argument.
I think sometimes Alicia's the same. She takes like the message and she'll be like, I can't believe they are like upset at us over something that we've said or whatever. And I'll be like, don't even worry about it. Who cares? And if they think that way, that's on them. That's not on us.
Yeah.
And so, like we really have to balance each other out for that, because she'll be like, but why? Why are they doing that? And I'll be like, no, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care.
That's the thing. It's like, So, and I try to take that. Okay. So, and I will say this too, in the community of like Instagram, because, when I started years and years ago, I do think it is a very specific community that I've built there. And I think they just know me, like the core people that are there, like know me, they get it. And so I think growing pains, I've had a little bit of that and maneuvering it, but I will say like, it's definitely something where I'm like, I don't have time for this. I don't have energy. Like, bye.
You have a solid community though.
So it's, and
there's people that troll me just, I think, for their own entertainment purpose.
Yeah. But it's a learning curve.
Yeah.
It is.
Do you want to hear our 1-star review?
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
I think it's the only one we got.
It is the only one.
It came early.
You guys need to get it framed. You guys need to get it framed.
So we talk about our podcast, like in our intro, we say, like we plan to bring you a funny, informal, conversational chat about all things nursing, right? The whole premise is that we're just a couple of nurses talking nursing. So this 1-star review says, listening to this podcast felt like I was sitting too close to two nurses chatting about work. It was a conversation rather than a podcast. That did not engage the listener. They used too much jargon and laugh too much at their own personal jokes.
But that's the whole point. That's what we're trying to do.
You're like, that sounds great. It makes me want to listen to your podcast.
Yeah.
Best reviews we've ever done. That's so
we had one where it was like, I turned this on and it sounded like two nurses just complaining the whole time. And I was like, yeah, are you new here? Really what we do. I'm like, have you ever met a nurse?
Yeah.
Like a synonym for nursing is complaining. Like that is what we do.
I love that.
Let's just do a quick bit of like Aussie slang, because I know Americans love to talk about this. So we've got some words, and they're like our slang words, abbreviations that we use, and we want you to tell us what you think they are.
Yes,
this
is
so
God.
Fun. Okay, let's do it.
I waited my whole life for this moment.
So the first one is arvo.
Avocado?
No, but that is my favorite food. Yeah.
Wait, say that. Avo?
Arvo. A-R-V-O.
Can you use it in a sentence, please?
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow, Arvo.
Yeah, see you tomorrow, Arvo. I'm on an Arvo shift today.
What the fuck?
What?
Means
afternoon.
I told you, Australians, we shorten everything.
Never would have guessed that.
So afternoon is Arvo.
Arvo
okay.
tea.
Okay. Love that.
Like an Avo nap?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I fuck with some Avo naps.
So for you guys, it would be like Arvo. Yeah. Okay, Dunny.
Like a car?
It's dead quiet. Okay, I'm busting. I've got to go to the Dunny.
Oh, you got bathroom.
Yeah.
Toilet.
Yeah.
Toilet.
What about?
Oh my God.
What about take the piss? This is a saying.
Okay, I've heard this before.
Like something.
Oh my God, Alisha, stop taking the piss.
Like you're
saying,
falling for the bait.
Or someone's trying to be mean to you, or like pierce you.
Like trying to
taking the piss out of something is like
making fun.
Oh, you're ruining the
fun.
Oh, no, are you like a buzzkill? Like if I'm like having super fun and then Tori's like, meh, and I'm
take
like,
the piss.
Or if someone's playing a joke on you, you're like, are you taking the piss?
Yeah, I can't tell if you're serious or if you're taking the piss.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or busting someone's chops is like Are you
Oh,
taking
yeah, busting your
Yeah.
chops.
Okay.
Budgie smugglers.
You might see a lot of them in Australia.
Yeah, if you go to Bondi Beach, you'll see a lot.
Oh, a thong bathing suit?
Yeah, they're like the men's little togs. You know, they look
Oh,
like
for
little
the men. I
feet.
was talking about the women.
Oh my
Okay.
God, that's...
Oh, like a Speedo.
Yeah, like a Speedo.
Yeah.
A
Oh my
banana
God.
hammock.
Wait, what's it called again? What's it called?
Budgie smuggler, like a budger, like you
they're
guys call them
smuggling a-
parakeets. You know, the little
Smuggling a budgie.
budgies,
Oh, okay.
birds. Yeah, it's like you're smuggling little birds in your pants.
There's actually
Oh
a
my
bathing company, like a bathers company called Budgie Smugglers, and they make the best. What's in it? Like bathers that you wear to the beach? What do you call them?
Swimsuit?
Togs.
Oh,
Yeah, swimsuits. Yeah, they make amazing. They're so funny. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it.
What about this one?
Macca's.
Oh, those are. Wait, I know. Wait, what'd you say?
She was so like sure.
Yes.
Macca's.
Macca's.
Like,
Mac-
I really want some lunch. I'm going to go to Macca's.
Oh, Macca's. McDonald's. I knew that one.
Yeah.
Oh
why.
my God.
I went to
Never would have guessed that.
in 2010. I went to Amsterdam. Okay,
Ah,
no one fucking loves a holiday like Australians,
yeah.
and I didn't know. Like you guys call vacations holidays,
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay.
and I'm like, a holiday is Christmas.
Yeah.
A holiday
that's
is
yeah,
Easter.
yeah,
A holiday
We
is
call them like
New
special
Year's.
occasions.
Yeah, special occasions. Festive.
Oh,
They're like
those
festive
are
season.
holidays.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Like we get work off for the holiday. Christmas is the holiday.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so but vacation. So I was on a vacation, but I met all of these Australian people on holiday, and they had just finished. They had just finished uni,
Yeah.
and they were taking a gap year,
Oh my God.
and they were on holiday, and they were fucking losing their minds in Amsterdam. I was like, holy shit, Australians can drink.
Oh, I love this.
Like,
Plus,
and
Part of our culture.
oh, we just and we
So
started
that's-
drinking at 18. So
yeah. Oh no, they were like.
That's
So
so
they were
funny.
all, or maybe they had finished high school and they were taking a gap year before uni.
yeah,
that
before
was it.
uni.
Yeah.
That was it.
Oh,
So
so
it was
you
like
met
these-
a bunch of schoolies.
Yeah.
yes, I met a bunch of schoolies on
We're
holiday,
learning all the things
taking a
today.
gap year
Oh my
before
God.
uni,
Oh my
and they
God.
were in Amsterdam, and
I
I was
have
like,
to take notes for this
Yeah.
one for later. We
I was
need to
like,
keep these sorts-
oh my God, like Australians can drink. And then this is when I heard it, they were like, drunk, and they're like, let's go get some Maccers, and we're like, what in the actual fuck? And then they're like, Maccers, like, yo, and then like we figured it out, like,
Like Big
oh,
Mac?
like McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Opening
I
everything,
learned
yeah.
that. I knew that one.
Yeah.
God, I'm so good.
So
And
good.
then the last one, this one's also a food. Dead horse.
Oh,
It's
I
not.
mean, we don't eat horse in Australia.
is it like a bad piece of meat? Like a bad?
No.
You put it on meat.
Yeah, you put it on there.
It's a
You'd be like,
condiment.
can I have some dead horse with
Gravy?
the sausages?
Barbecue
Oh,
sauce?
see, yeah. So it's
Ketchup.
Yeah, well, we call it tomato sauce, which is like barbecue. It's like ketchup for you guys.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's
Well, Tori likes to drink ketchup because she
I do.
drinks Bloody Marys.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
You don't
I-
put ketchup in your Bloody Marys, do you?
No, but I, in general, I have a fundamental problem with people who drink Bloody Marys.
I am sus because I
How do you
drink.
juice a tomato? That's what I want to know.
Thank you. I honestly, I'm like, this isn't a drink. Like, you don't
Go.
let me take some fucking produce.
Is skiing a thing in I don't know,
Skiing?
in
Yeah,
Australia?
as in
Yeah.
as in snow skiing or water
Yeah.
skiing.
Like the thing is, like when you ski or when you're at higher altitudes, like you want something salty because it helps with like your higher levels.
No.
So like the thing is like you go
This is
ski,
literally
and then
made
you
up.
get a Bloody Mary, and then
This
you
is
go and
not
do
this is not
fucking
American
delicious.
The
accurate.
last time I
Or-
went skiing, I got the worst migraine like afterwards because of the like,
altitude. Yeah, I don't
And it
wanna-
went for like a week and a half, and I had to go to hospital. And now I'm like, is it worth it?
I can't even make it to the top of the mountain. I get such bad motion sickness that I'm
same.
like vomiting before I even reach
I
the top
just
of the
don't.
mountain.
I don't like to be cold. I don't like to
I
be
love
hot.
cold.
I don't like to be cold.
Ugh.
I like to be just right. I'm like the Goldilocks of weather.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like a
hate
princess in the pea. If I'm not just right, I'm.
I would rather be
complain.
cold than hot for sure.
I'd rather
Yeah,
be perfect
Yeah.
temperature.
Princess in the pea. Princess in the pea.
Princess in the pea right here.
Yeah.
Oh my
Well,
God, thank you so
thank
much.
you. That was an amazing chat.
Fucking hilarious.
That was fun. The pop
I
quiz.
know. This is
We
good.
can't-
I need notes because honestly, we need to start using these.
Putting 4 podcasters together to have a conversation was not the best idea. Editing this is going to be a nightmare, but oh my god, it was so much fun.
I mean, it's hard enough with the 2 of us, really.
Yeah. They're literally the American version of us, but hotter.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like with the whole parallel universe thing.
Incredible. Yeah. We did a lot of chatting off mic as well, and I might see if there's any pearlers in that to share as little outtakes, but holy moly.
And we said we could do like a full-on 24-hour episode. Like, that would be hilarious.
So funny.
It'd be exhausting to listen to.
Yeah.
It'd be an assault for the eardrum.
You can find them on socials at Cellfie_podcast. That's Cellfie, CELLFIE. You can find Tori at nurse.tori_ and Sam at Hey Samantha with 2 A's. Of course, links will be in the show notes.
You can find us, as always, at 2 Humerus Nurses Podcast, or shoot us an email at our new email address, hello@twohumerousnurses.com. That's humerus like the bone, HUMERIUS.
Bye.